also need leaf zone at some point. Oh my goodness. So yeah, hopefully now everything's stuck and locked down and we can move on to the planting.
I'm a very impatient guy and I like to get that finished look straight away.
Little dab of glue and then just place it on the rhizome of the plant. That sort of pathway of the tunnel that we're looking for.
It seems to be just enough to stop any jumping. Welcome back to the vlog, guys. So behind me is the Buddha aquarium. Guess what? It's finally time to start planting it. Many of you wanted me to rush straight into planting the next video. I was disappointed that I didn't, but I had to wait for some more plants to arrive. Everything's sort of here now. In fact, I'm actually still waiting for one thing, but that should arrive today, so we're all good to get started. Let's get planting.
In the previous video, we laid down all our substrate system. We then placed in our hardscape, which consists of some really cool manzanita wood that I bought from Aquarium Gardens. And then we placed down these big boulders, which you probably saw in the last video. Came from my mother-in-law's driveway. She was fine. Initially, she didn't want me to take them, but I explained what they were going to be for, and then she was like, yeah, go for it. So we're all good there. But if you remember rightly, apart from the aqua soil that I put inside of those sort of mesh bags, there's no nutrients in sort of the front area or specific areas. So what we want to do is start placing in some root tabs.
So as many of you know, this year we're fortunate enough to have quite a few videos sponsored by API and Aquarian.
Now Mars Fish Care are the parent company to Aquarian and API, hence why we get some sweet fish food in the deal as well. This is my Amazon tank, many of you know it. The fish go absolutely nuts for this aquarium food. Watch this. See what I mean? You can see the Colombians there going crazy for it. Now some of these ones down the bottom here, they've literally only just woken up. I've only just come in here and the lights haven't been on very long, but I really wanted to do a feeding and show you guys because it's so cool. So that flake food's really good because like it doesn't seem to get the water dirty at all. Within no time they've eaten it all and it just doesn't leave all that dustiness everywhere. That's what I really like about flake food, to be fair. And a big pinch in there then and it's already pretty clear, isn't it? But how good is this tank looking, guys? Look at that foreground there with that sage just creeping everywhere. I might have to trim some of that back soon because it's going to take over, isn't it? Anyway, back to the Buddha tank. Right, so we're currently in our other studio and we have the API shrine. So we've got loads of really good stuff here. So what we're going to be using for this build, root tabs. I need some of those. I need tap water conditioner. Also need leaf zone at some point. Oh my goodness. I just knocked all that over. We're going to need the AQUARIAN as well. Why am I so clumsy? Like, you would not believe the amount of times I trip up, knock stuff over in these two studios. But anyway, the API root tabs, they contain macronutrients plus iron, so we need to put those in areas where we're going to be planting. Now, obviously, I don't know exactly where I'm going to be planting yet, so I'm just going to do sort of a grid and go everywhere. I mean, I say I obviously don't know where I'm planting yet. A proper aquascaper would have a plan, you know, a drawing like you see them do. Yeah, I haven't got a clue. I'm just going to chuck them in and mess around with it as I do it. Throughout the video, guys, I'm going to be using various API products. If you want the chance to win these, then stick around till later on in the video and I will tell you how. Now I used 15 tablets for all of that, so that's like a pack and a half. This is a 3-foot aquarium, so 90 centimeters. So, you know, it's a decent size, really big footprint because it's 60 centimeters back as well, which is 2 foot. But I have just remembered something, and it's something important. None of this wood is sort of stuck down. I mean, they've got rocks weighted against it, which would probably be enough. But this wood's never been submerged, so if I filled up with water now, I'm pretty sure we'd just have a pile of wood on top of the water. A pile? Floating? I don't know. Anyway, what I need to do is glue all these down, and what I like to do for that is use cotton wool pads and super glue. Super glue is completely safe in an aquarium, by the way, guys. As soon as water hits it, it goes like solid and inert, so you're all good with using super glue. It has to be the cyanoacrylate type form though, so I've got a gel one and then just like a proper liquid. You can't see it, you'll see in a minute. Anyway, so it has to be those types, and then it just dries completely inert and it's all safe for fish, plants and everything in your aquarium. Click subscribe.
And don't forget guys, new discus merch is available. So I designed this myself. It's selling like crazy. You guys are absolutely loving it. So thanks for your interest. Click the link in the description or above, or pin first comment, take to the site. You can have a little look around.
So everything should now be locked down. So I've done one right there in the middle of the screen. You can see there's some at the back there on those sticks, again right in the middle. So yeah, hopefully now everything's stuck and locked down and we can move on to the planting.
So as I said before guys, I don't really have like a strict plan when it comes to planting. I never really do, but I have an overall vision and how I want the tank to look. In the previous video I said I wanted it to look like life is bursting out of the Buddha, and that's why I've structured the hardscape in the way that I have. So the main focal point is the Buddha and everything comes out from that area. With that in mind, I want to keep the area in front of him, you know, with a pathway coming up leading to him, to be completely with short plants. I don't want anything big obstructing the view. I'll keep all the big plants, tall is what I'm meaning to say there. I'll keep all the tall plants to the outside and just taper them going from you know long to short as they come in. Effectively what I'm trying to create here is a tunnel that goes to the Buddha and it gets narrow, like a cone if you like. Now I'm going for tons of detail, so I want loads of different pockets of different plants and different colours. I want it to look more like a Dutch style, you know, in the Dutch style tanks, I'll put an example up, but they're very colourful and lots of pockets of colour. That's what I want to try and do with this one, although nowhere near as formal and more with sort of like a wildish look to it.
Anyway, that's enough theory, let's get to it. So behind me for a start, we've got an absolute ton here of tanks with different plants in. These are all pretty similar because they're just set up for shrimp. They're not scaped, the bottom ones that is. The top two escaped so far. This one will be scaped soon, and so will that one because it will be next to, anyway, that's not important. But we've got loads of other plants, see, still in their pots dotted around. So what I like to do is every time I go to an aquarium shop is take a look at their plant section and see what plants I haven't actually got yet, and if I haven't, just buy them. So for instance, down here we've got a lotus plant, so I'm going to be using that for sure. It's going to look great. Well, there's too many here to start listing them all, but basically we've got some really good plants to choose from in this section. And also I've got a ton of plants down here in this tank, a load in this tank, a load in this tank. These are the really nice, fresh, colourful ones. I'm going to be using pretty much all of those. And also in this tank, the goldfish tank. These are the fish that are going to be going in there, by the way. Hello, this is Ember. Thinks he's going to be fed. Where's Pumpkin? Pumpkin's sleeping. I assure you she's definitely just sleeping. But yeah, we've got some nice plants in here as well. We've got this, oh no, now I'm going to struggle with this. 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝗀𝘀. Anyway, we've got loads of plants, put it that way. We've got some nice Vallisneria nana. We've got some hair grass back there as well, a 𝗲𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃𝗃 in whilst it's dry, and then once I've got those in, I fill it up with water and then put the stems in. I just find it easier that way, and also you can see how all the stems are sitting as soon as you do it, because sometimes you can plant them all dry and then you fill it up with water and then they're just flopped everywhere. They're not how you want them to look. So yeah, just do it this way, I find, is the best way. And again, none of the ways I suggest are the best way. They're the best way for me. There's tons of ways of doing all this, guys, obviously. Right guys, regarding hair grass, some people like to just get their scissors and like cut it in half. That's not good in my opinion. You just make a load of mess when you plant it. The best thing to do is turn it upside down and break it from the roots, and then it snaps in areas it's supposed to, but the hair grass stays perfectly intact. Now if you sort of roll it, the outside comes away from the center, and I found that is the best way to keep it so that you've got roots at the bottom and grass at the top. And then this section here can obviously be just sort of broken up into smaller pieces. Again, tearing from the bottom and then lifting away. There you go, you just get nice little tufts. Keep them together. Also a good idea is to roll between your fingers like this, and then you can just keep it all nicely compact, and just a nice little sort of plug there then for planting straight into that sand. It'll stay down nicely. So usually I do like big sections, but in this scape I want to do tiny little tufts everywhere. So I'm going to keep this all together like this, break it apart and plant it as I go. This is the taller version, so this will actually grow almost as long as this. So this is already long, smaller piece. Anyway, and then next to it here we've got some Liliopsis brasiliensis for some more texture. But when you're planting, I've said this before, but I'll say it again, you need to get yourself one of these. Excuse the mess. It's creation mode, but yeah, you need to get yourself one of these little sprayers because they're so good. Oh, I should have charged it, but yeah, anyway, routinely you can just come down and just start spraying everything. You need to be spraying small plants like this regularly. They dry out so fast, so every 5 minutes or so do what I just did then, quick spray. Oh, it looks really nice, doesn't it? Look at those colours. I've not actually put any water on this yet, so I didn't know what the stones would look like, but oh, that's going to look so good when it's flooded, isn't it? Oh, look at the greens. Nice. Yeah, so you can see what I've done there. I've actually just kept it quite sparse deliberately. I want to make it look organic, you know, just like a proper little pathway in a forest somewhere where the greenery is making its way into. And you know, there's going to be plenty of plants all around the outside anyway, so in the middle we could just have that sort of space, if you like, and I'll lighten that substrate as well, or that decorative sand, get some lighter stuff going up the middle after we've finished, but for now we'll just keep it as it is. Right, that's the planting, and that looks wicked, doesn't it? I've just put a little bit of water in just to make sure those roots stay nice and moist, because the next part might take a while. We want to put our mosses on now. I have got mosses dotted everywhere. So for instance, down here in this tank I've got moss, I've got a bunch of moss in this tank, but the place I've got more moss in this tank as well. The place that's got the really nice moss, I'm going to be using a mix of all of it for variation, but there's also this amazing moss over here in the better tank. Oh, hello buddy. But to me, this is the best moss. This is the Taiwan moss, and it looks so good, doesn't it? I love the way it does that sort of triangular shape and just grows in that sort of bushy way. So I'll start off by putting some of this into the tank with that super glue again. So we've got tons of moss dotted around there. Now I just want to work in this little section over here. I'll show you in a second. But you know, that's where the wood has been joined with the wool and the glue together, and you can just sort of see it there. And the best thing to do is take a piece of moss and just stick it onto it. Right, there we go, we've got loads of moss going on in there now. That's starting to look really good, isn't it? I wanted to keep all the moss in that middle section, and then when we've got all the plants around the outside, it won't sort of clog them up, or, you know, just keep them separate. Keep that small scale in the centre, because that's the sort of tunnel that we want going inwards. And all that moss that I've got in there now didn't even make a dent in the tank over here, so look. You can see there's basically just tons of moss still available. So that's the thing, guys. What you want to do is, if you're worried that you haven't got the cash for this amount of moss or plants, just spend about £50 or $70 on a bunch of plants and grow them all out, take trim-ins and move them into other tanks if you've got them, and just cultivate it. And before you know it, look, you just chock-a-block with plants and plants. I mean, it's so good. The plants are amazing, they make your tank amazing, and they just work wonders for everything in a hobby.
So I'm really happy with that for a start, but what I like to do now is just fill the water level to about, just over halfway, you know, not so high that every time we put our arms in, our whole arm's getting covered in water, it's overspilling, all that sort of thing. No, just over halfway, and we can start planting our stem plants. And like I said before, this is just so that I can get them to sit the way that I want them to sit right from day one. They'll eventually do what you want anyway, they always grow up right. I'm a very impatient guy, and I like to get that finished look straight away. So by planting with the water in the aquarium, the stem plants anyway, it really allows me to get that look that I'm after straight away.
So the planting starts. Now what we want to do is keep our fast growing plants all the way to the outsides and at the very back. And then in the gaps you can see we can put things like Java ferns and just slower growing plants, or plants that can attach to decor. So first of all, let's get those Java ferns in place, because we won't need to trim those. Well, we will, but only like every 2-3 months. By that point I'll probably be taking it down. No, not really. So yeah, we can fill in the gaps at the back, and you can just push it in between. pieces of wood, or you can just glue it to like a little pebble and put it in on that. So I think that's what I'll do, so I can move it around when I want to as well. So I've just spent ages preparing all these plants. You can see the mess I've just created over here. I didn't film it because, you know, it's pretty boring. Down here I've got my little bucket of pebbles. We can just glue our plants to these, and what's good about that is that we can move these around whenever we want to, or even if we don't want to, it'll anchor them down in place without having to cram them into spots which might cause some sort of flow issues. It just keeps them weighted down, allows them to move. You know, you never know. Things like 𝗲𝗾𝗀𝗀𝘀𝘀 you can see here sometimes just doesn't like where it's sat, and you don't really know why, so you move it somewhere else, maybe a bit more shaded or something like that, and it starts to take off. So it's always a good idea having them glued to these. So simple to do. Again, it's just the same as before. Get the stone a little bit moist because the glue sticks better. Little dab of glue, and then just place it on the rhizome of the plant. Done this off camera. There's been way too many time lapses already, but we've got loads of awesome plants ready to place in. The sense of scale, that's my foot. So there's lots of little ones with full of little details in the foreground, and then some nice big pieces of Java fern there, ready to go in that background area surrounding the Buddha, so he's lost right in the woods. Wow, I think I've even outdone myself. So you can see there, I've tried to follow the lines of the wood with the Java moss, so it leaves that sort of pathway of the tunnel that we're looking for, you know. Not exactly, but I think it gives the impression that I was after. Hopefully you guys agree as well. So there it is with the foreground actually in focus. So yeah, what I want to do now is get some filtration in so that there's some flow for when we put our stems in, just to see how they're behaving, because some stems, if they're massively in flow, they won't do too well. I mean, they'll grow, but they won't look nice. So let's get that filter fitted. We're currently just priming the filter. That's the air coming out as the siphon has started and the water fills the whole chamber. In a minute we can switch it on and we'll get, like, you know, proper flow. So that's a bubbly mess, but that'll clear up soon enough. Now it's at this point we can put another product in from API that's really going to help us with the start of this build. Now, it's not just fish that like to have a tank that's cycled or full of beneficial bacteria, plants do as well. So we can get all that started using some of API's quick start. This is wicked. I've just received this and it's just basically beneficial bacteria, stick it in straight away. But obviously the water is from my tap, so it's going to be full of chlorine. So then we also need to put in the water conditioner. The conditioner removes chlorine, chloramines, detoxifies heavy metals, and it's a high concentration formula as well. So you actually get, like, this one here will last me like 6 months probably, or 3 months. I've got a lot of tanks, haven't I? And then last but certainly not least, guys, we've got the API leaf zone. Now to start with, I'm going to be taking out 50% of this water every day and then replacing it again. So I'm going to need to be dosing every day to replace what I'm taking out. Now moving past that, when I do a water change every couple of weeks or whatever your schedule is, I'll put in a couple of capfuls and then we're set. There's no need for daily dosing or things like that. I mean, who's even got time for that or remembers that unless you've got some kind of auto dosing system? I don't know. But yeah, the leaf zone is going to provide nutrients and fertilize the water. Speaking of which, we are now fully ready. The water's set up perfectly for what we need. It's actually, the wood's already releasing some tannings, as you can see there. But now that we've put bacteria into there, we need to provide some sort of food for that. Well, I don't like dosing ammonia and stuff like that. So what I do is just put in a ton of snails. So yeah, right over here, look, I've got my snails down in there. There's one absolute beast in there. That's like an athlete snail. He's been training. That's going to be really good. I think we've got about 8 there, so they'll get the cycle continuing and just give that food, like I said, to the bacteria in there. They need to have food, otherwise it will just die. Now obviously these snails are not going to be enough to you know, for the fish, to provide enough bacteria for the fish. Oh no, they're all stuck. Come out. Oh, there goes one. It's those guys at the bottom. Come on. Well, I'm just going to leave that there for a second. So obviously that's not going to provide enough food for a lot of bacteria. You'll need more. I'll need to dose the bacteria again when the fish go in, but it'll just get a nice cycle started anyway, and it'd be beneficial for the plants and overall tank health. The bacteria in your whole system, including your tank and filter, will only ever colonize dependent on what's in it. So if you've got big fish, you'll get more of a colony of bacteria. If you've got smaller fish, you'll get smaller. So every time you add fish, really, you want to be adding beneficial bacteria to boost that whole system up. That's what I do anyway, and I rarely experience any fish losses. If I do, it tends to be because there was a problem somewhere else. And I mean, to be honest, these guys are a great example of that. I added all of these fish in 2 lots, and each time I added in some beneficial bacteria, and we've not had any losses at all, so all good. Not even had any jumpers, which is brilliant. That's why, by the way, someone was asking me, why do you not fill your tanks right up? Well, that seems to be just enough to stop any jumping. But anyway, enough of all that. It's time to get back on with the planting and get the rest of the stems in. Let's just flash through this. I'll be popping up what each plant is on the screen, then we can have a look at the end. It is giveaway time, right? If you guys want to win all of these awesome API products, all you have to do is click the like button, click the subscribe button, and I will see you. No, that's not, we're not ready yet. All you need to do is type win below, like and share the video on Facebook or anywhere you share stuff, and subscribe to the channel, and I will pick a winner at random on like a random generator thing you can do. The winner will be announced on my Instagram story, so make sure you're following my Instagram, and also in the community tab on YouTube. Now this giveaway is worldwide, so if you're in the UK or the US, I'll get the stuff shipped directly to you. If you're anywhere else, I'll probably just send you the cash and you can buy it yourself. Due to like distribution laws and me not being able to send tons of liquids everywhere, quite right. About £50 worth, which is whatever the equivalent is in your currency. Anyway, enough of that, back to the build. Guys, top tip for you here, look, if you find that you're struggling to plant any stem plants at the back, maybe your sand is too shallow like mine, you can just put them on either a ceramic ring or one of these with the metal. It's all good. I've used it in plenty of setups before with no problems with fish. You can either use that or the ceramic rings anyway. So, and the beauty of it is now that we can just stick it in the aquarium like this and just let it do its thing and move it around as we need to. The roots will just find their way into the sand, which is ideal. And as usual, it wouldn't be an MD tank without a little bit of pearlweed, would it? Oh wow, right, there we go. So we're all filled up. There's a slight murkiness to the water. Now I'm just going to stick in some of the API AQUARIAN. This stuff is absolutely brilliant. I'll put it in now, and then I need to go home and see the family at some point. I'll stick it in, and then by tomorrow it'll be absolutely clear in there. I mean, we might still have the tannings, so that's from the wood, but that's okay, that'll clear in time. Probably get some Purigen for the filter and just do lots of water changes for that.
that is the end of the vlog, guys. As usual, hit the like and subscribe button. In the next video, we're going to be adding in the fish, which is going to be large fancy goldfish. They might absolutely destroy the scape. They might eat all the plants. Who knows? But I'm doing it anyway. See you on the next one.